There we go. I think my mic is working now. I have this mic with that I can, and it mutes it, and I didn't realize I touched it, so I was trying to reset it up. All right. Well, hello everybody. We'll get started here momentarily. Hello, Andreas, Shay, Bob. How's everybody doing on this Friday? Hello, hello. JW Sarbia. No, I can't remember everybody's name. Sorry, guys. I know some of you, I'm like, I recognize the username. I don't remember exactly. I'm just waiting for the winter storm. Yeah. You guys need to stay. Jeez. You guys are, Jim, that's right. You guys are in for it out there. Boy, I am so glad I live in Arizona right now. Like, we got a tiny bit of rain. A tiny bit of rain last night, tiny bit of rain today. It's a little bit chilly, but yeah, I don't know. It used to put the name and now it's got this hat with a handle. It's changed again, Jim. Like, I don't know what the deal is, why it's changed. But no, it's different. Yeah, stay safe, stay warm. Hopefully you guys don't lose power. You know, because that could be deadly. Like, for real. I know how crazy it gets. You guys just hunker down and get through the polar vortex, please. Like, I want everybody to be safe. It's crazy. It's super crazy. I know it is. Like, even winds and rain all the way in the UK. Ooh, there we go. Like, it's everywhere. It's everywhere except for Arizona. We just have a tiny bit of, like, what's the temperature today? Let's see. Let's check the weather today. Today, the current weather is 71 degrees and partly cloudy, with a high tomorrow of 65. So that's what we are dealing with in Arizona. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, now you don't have to deal with 120-degree summers, so there's at least that. All right, we'll go ahead and get into stuff. People can join us as we go along. I don't want to say I don't have a lot to talk about. I know it's not fair. I understand it's not fair right now. I get it. I understand that 75 in January is not fair to anybody else. But yeah, the summers are brutal though. Like, the summers are brutal. They're just brutal. Yeah, so please stay safe. I want you guys to maintain your life and livelihoods. So hopefully everything, I don't want to say blows over, but hopefully everything goes smoothly and everybody's safe. I didn't want to not do a live stream this month. I don't have a ton to go over. We pushed a lot of stuff back internally. Like, I still haven't had all my meetings, haven't done all my planning stuff. So I'm a little bit behind the 8 ball. But a lot of it has to do with the first thing I'm going to talk about, which is the new website. So I've talked about this a couple times now, but not really like not in like the grand scheme of things. So with us moving to Shopify for Everyday Karis, it just kind of showed how easy that platform is to use. And I think kind of how easy it is for customers to navigate as well. Um, we have, I don't want to say we have a lot more customers. We just have, we don't have we don't have the feedback on user experience for everyday Keras that we do for Keras Customs. Now you could kind of be like, well, that's because one website's super like simple. The Everyday Keras website is very stripped down. But that was a choice that we made in terms of we made the decision to keep it relatively, I don't want to say simplistic, but like, for lack of a better word, basic. We wanted it to be very clean without being sterile. So we wanted whites and grays and stuff like that. Not as many images, easier to navigate, a very small sitemap. And so, but that just means that we're not doing everything that the platform that Shopify can allow us to do. So, the week before Christmas, I started working on the Keras Penco site, downloaded a new instance of, or not downloaded really, but signed up for a new instance of Shopify, started navigating, looking at different themes that are more aligned with how we want Keras Penco to look. It's not going to look exactly the same as what we have now, but it's going to look somewhat similar. And then kind of like delving into the specifics of how it would function with the complexity of the products that we have for Keras Penco. And that's been the biggest hurdle with anytime we've looked at moving to different platform for Keras Penco is that our products are sold in a way where it allows you a lot of customizations, and we need to track the inventory on all of those customizations. And while Shopify allows you to do customizations, they're not inventoried. So like you can customize like a shirt, say, or a pair of shoes. Like you can customize the color scheme and the size of the items, but each individual like component isn't inventoried all on its own. So the more customizations that you have along the path, the more difficult it becomes, and Shopify is just not made to do that natively. So like we would need to have all the different colors individual of an ink, say, inventoried, and then all the different grip sections and all the different finishes inventoried, and then all the different nib sizes inventoried. And then you would go through and purchase them accordingly. So, hey, Dylan, Wake, thanks for joining us. So Shopify just doesn't have that built in. Their whole thing is like, from what I understand, the guys that kind of started that e-commerce platform came from other e-commerce platforms that allowed that type of stuff. And what they kind of all brought to the table was this feedback of the majority of people that use these platforms don't use this complex inventory system that allows you to full customization. You're going to have to, one thing, there is some technical difficulties with my one camera. Like it glitches out every once in a while, just so you guys know. I just keep seeing it. So you might not translate to what you're seeing, but anyway, so because they kind of built Shopify around this idea of not being able, like not having that built in, because they, their feedback from the majority of the user bases from the other e-commerce platforms was, we're not using this thing that you and your engineers and your software programmers have put a lot of time and effort into. and that can break your website. They didn't prioritize that, so it's not something that's used by a lot of companies, and it's not something that's native to Shopify. And even the plugins that Shopify has that allow you to do some of that don't function. I don't want to say don't function as well. They don't function as, for me, the person that's writing the website, that's creating everything, they don't function as like intuitively as the other websites that I've worked with, whether that's a Magento or WooCommerce. But we did find one that works the last couple of weeks, and we actually tested it on Everyday Keras. We installed it on Everyday Keras, and then if you've been on there recently, we launched a 2-pen bundle product, a bundler that allows you to pick any of the options that we have, that we put in, and then it inventories each different SKU individually, and then shows up in the shipping software correctly. It takes everything out of inventory correctly. It'll even allow you to purchase, like we can kind of allow stuff to be like, I don't want to say float. We can put stuff in a inventory holding area, but still list it for sale in a bundle type of thing. So now that we know that it works on Everyday Keras, I'm building with it on the new Keras Pen Co site. So having said all that, it's not going nearly as fast as I expected it to. Well, not nearly as fast as I hoped it would. Like I'm spending probably 2/3 of my day working on the new Keras Pen Co site, and then the other third of my day working on updating the current one, adding new products, doing emails, sending out an email, or writing 1 or 2 emails, and then updating the Everyday Keras site as well. So, and it's a little bit. We have way more products that I have to move over, and that's the main. The big thing is that I can't import them directly, so I can't just have the Shopify pull everything over, because it doesn't see the products that we sell on WooCommerce. It doesn't see those products as actual products, so it doesn't know what to do with them. So it just leaves them there. So 2/3, or actually probably 3/4 of the products that we actually have on WooCommerce wouldn't get imported anyway. So I'm basically building everything from scratch. All the individual products have to be built from scratch. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's going to be what it's going to be. Like, that's the only way that I can do it. Now, we will be able to import orders over from WooCommerce into Shopify. So there should be we should be able to keep orders, or definitely the last 12 to 24 months worth of orders should come over when we do the import of orders and users, like happened with Everyday Keras. So when we have that, that will be something that happens, so you won't lose your order information. There might be a little bit of working through, like when you make your first purchase and stuff like that, and assigning everything to you, making sure that you're using the right email address when you check out the first time when we finally launch the new website. But there should be order integrity brought over, and so you should have those orders attached to your email address. That's how Shopify rectifies everything. So it's like, this email address is associated with this person. So email addresses that are, that are purchased with Paul at KerasCustoms.com. If I log into the new site for the first time, it will populate all those orders that I've made, because I have made a lot of like test orders on our site. So it's coming along. It's coming along slow. What that means for Pen Club members is that we're going to go ahead and do that whole we're not going to have a 2026 pen club year. There's no way that we'll be able to finish this fast enough for us to like get a coin done and get all that stuff done and then launch it and, and that stuff. So we'll just, like we had talked about previously, if you're a part of the pen club or you were curious about it, what we're going to do is we're just going to extend last year's members. We're just going to grandfather them in. And then we do have like, I think 45 more slots available that didn't sell in 2025. So we have like 45 more slots. And so if people want to buy into those, they'll get last year's coin, which will be the coin for 2025 and 2026. And we might do something like I do have some artwork that we might be able to use in some shape or way or form where you can buy, if you want something cool, you might be able to put that together. No promises, but that just means that we're gonna move forward with grandfathering everybody in, and then we have people that do want to sign up for this whole year. They can purchase the one that's live now. It's going to be 2025, 2026. I'll have to update the language on that, but that way we can still give some perks and stuff like that. We'll still do Pen Club exclusives. I actually have some stuff going out to Anodizer right now that I'm going to pull part of it aside and do specifically just for Pen Club members. Some of the final EDKs and retracts will go just to the Pen Club members in different colors. So Pen Club stuff is still going to happen. It's just, that's how we're going to go ahead and do it. So, so that's kind of update on the website move and the Pen Club. I'm going to show some stuff off because I've got a few things for Everyday Karis to show off, a few things from Karis Penco to show off, and then we'll do like Q&A. So first off, let's look at some Everyday Karis stuff. So here are some upcoming Cerakote, very, very small batch stuff for Everyday Karis. So the one in the center, be safe, Blake. Everybody's prepping for the storm. Okay, so the distress pen in the center is a new distress pattern that Cerakote, that Aaron at our Cerakote at Area 15 did for us. So this one is, why is it so blurry? Looks really blurry for some reason to me. I don't know if it looks blurry to you guys, but it looks blurry to me. Anyway, sorry about that. I don't know if it's the lens or what. So the center one, the center pen with the distressing on it is going to be the next Cerakote release that we do for Everyday Karis. It's the number 3, basic number 3. This is we wanted to do some kind of like, I don't want to say like Mandalorian themed, like if you're a Star Wars fan, but kind of that whole like that color scheme of the different armors that the Mandalorian has in it, like the reds with the blacks kind of like faded and stripped away. So we did some red and we did some test batches with red and with green and with gray, orange, brown, different colors, and we landed on the red the first one. And we're going to add this to some Karis Penco pens too. Really like the way that it came out with the distressing on these. I don't know. I'm a big fan of the distressed Cerakote pens. They look very unique. So that one's coming next. And then today he dropped off these other two, which are, so this orange one here it looks red. It's actually blood orange. So it has some some shimmer in there. We've released blood orange on some Karas Benko pens. This is the first time we're going to have it on the basic. And then this is burnt orange. So it is a very, very, very flat color. It looks shiny on here, but it is extremely, like, looking at it in person, it's very, very flat. Like, it's a matte look that's flat. So good, really super, super nice gripability. Like, it is grippy, especially with this finish. So you guys are actually seeing, I didn't realize I put these on, but this is going to be, we got requests to do the plainest of the plain basic, like feedback forums that, hey, can you just do like a basic, a pen that doesn't have hardly any surface treatment, like no rings or anything like that. It's just a standard pen. And so that's what we did. So this is the number 8. This will be the number 8. It does have more of the micro finishing, the teeny tiny rings. Those are a little bit more pronounced. It's really difficult to see with Cerakote on them. But there is some of that micro ring all the way from the tip to the top. But we had people that asked us to do just a normal run-of-the-mill kind of looking one, no design. So that's what we did for the 8. So you're seeing the next version that's not going to be released. It's very close to the modal, standard modal, yep. But with the micro rings finish, it adds enough finish texture for it to be give you some tactile grip, so it's not slippery, because a lot of the feedback on the modal and the bolt is, oh, it's too slippery for me, especially when they're anodized. It's too slippery, like my hands slip around. This is not slippery, but between the Cerakote and the micro rings, you definitely have a good grip to hold on to. So those are going to be like kind of 3 of the next Cerakote finishes. We are going to do some. We're going to release another. I'm putting the final details on releasing another anodized basic. So this will be the second, like. Well, actually, we did blue, so it'll be the 3rd anodized basic that we released. So that will be something that we're going to pursue here in the short term. Is an anodized, is a couple more, 1 or 2 more anodized basics. All right, so I get a lot of questions about the engraved pins that we've shown off in the past. And so we do have another small batch of engraved copper bolts and engraved copper inks that will be, and these are actually going to be on the website. The last ones that we had, we sold to Pen Club members. This version, these will go on the main website. There's not a lot of them, and they're all very random in the finish and the way that they look. So like, I grabbed these 2 because the tips and the bottoms aren't complete. They have like a little bit of like detailing around, and the engraver didn't go all the way to the bottom, just kind of bracketed them and then did some engraving up here. So they're all different. So some of them go tip to top. Some of them have like sections like this that are not engraved. So it's going to be kind of random, kind of similar to how we sell the shipwreck pens. We're going to put them up. They're going to sell, and then we're just going to randomly ship whichever, there's not a way for you to select which one you get. They're like, these are so unique. I don't have an easy way to sell the individual pieces without creating an individual page for each one. And I'm not sure how that would work. It would just probably make people angry. So we're just going to sell them. You're going to get what you want. We're just going to grab one and ship out the one. So we have to finalize pricing on these based off of this latest batch that we got in. I don't specifically know how much of the cost, the final cost, how much we've told or how much they're charging for it. It kind of varies. So I think we have about 10 of each of these. So it's not a lot. That's about how many we had of each of the last time. So every single batch, we were sending them about 20 total pens, 10 bolts, 10 inks. So it's not a ton, but hopefully with the pen club members kind of having access to the first batch of them, putting this on the website, we can kind of go through. So people will have access to these. They will be similarly priced to what they were. No, these are not aluminum. These are all, Bob, these are copper, full copper. Yes, they are copper. These are full copper with a full engraving. We did some aluminum test pens. The only problem with the aluminum versions was that it was extremely difficult to deburr the aluminum. So I don't like, that's the process with these. We still, when we get them back, they still have burrs on them. And so we have to very carefully basically handy burr most of them and then take them to a soft wheel and soft wheel them. And that will get some of the small burrs off so that they're not sharp when you hold them. The surface is not sharp. So the aluminum it gets really, really sharp and it holds on, so you can't get them off easily. Like every single angle has like a sharp burr on it. And so it took us forever to deburr the 2 aluminum ones. So it's probably just not something that we're going to do with the aluminum ones. If we can find a way to deburr them faster, we would, but it's just not something we would do. I don't have any retracts right now. It's possible the next batch we send out, we can send out some retracts, but I have a limited amount of retracts left. So it's going to kind of come down to like how many are over there. But when they come back to get another batch, I'll pull aside some retracts too. Okay, so these are going to be probably beginning of February. So if you've been waiting for one of these because you saw us tease them, beginning of February timeframe is when we're going to go ahead and launch, put those up. So, how much is a minimal amount of retracts? I honestly don't. We're completely out of brass retracts. I don't have any brass retracts left. I don't know how many copper retracts we have in stock. It's probably less than 40 total. I think a lot of them have to have handwork done to them, which is why we haven't listed them. So, I'm actually sending retracts out for anodize right now. We're going to do a couple different full color retracts, which we haven't done a lot of before we like get through all the anodized aluminum versions. I wanted to do a few more full color versions. So we're going to do some olive ones. We're going to do some purple ones because I had some requests for some people to do all purple. So yeah, we have a few hundred aluminum retracts left to anodize, and then maybe 40 copper ones and no brass ones left. So, same with the EDKs. We have not even a couple hundred EDKs in aluminum left. And then probably I think we have more EDKs, more copper EDKs than we have copper retracts. So we might have 60 copper EDKs. But I don't have any brass EDKs either. So we don't have any brass upper bodies, which is the problem. So, and we don't, since that was the whole thing, is like, we're not going to make that. We're going to redesign those pins somewhere down the road, or redesign something that's similar to those pins down the road. So that's kind of when it came down to it, or when it was like, well, it's time to like make these parts. Do we make them or do we not make them? And it was just like, probably should just move into figuring out the replacement pin for those two and not make the uppers like that. So, all right, that's kind of everything that I have to go over. I did not talk about the giveaway. There is a pinned comment at the top of the chat that is the form. So click on that, fill out that form so that you will be entered to win the giveaway. We're giving away 5 retracts. 5 people are going to win blue and silver retracts. So if you'd like the chance to win a retract, go complete that form before we finish up. But while we wait for that, we will go ahead and move into the Q&A portion of the live stream. So, your most burningest of burningest questions answered. Ask away. Dun 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 dun. Crickets. I know I already already answered some questions, but sorry. I need to stay hydrated. I don't drink enough water. How far out are we on the basics? How long do you plan on doing them? So this month next week we'll release the 7. We'll go live on the website. And then there's a really short turnaround time. And then second week of February, we'll release 8. And then 9 will be released in March. So we're all the way out through 9. We're working on machining through those. So I have some 8. I have all of the 7s done. I have some of the 8s done. And the 9s are just now going into production. And then I have design plans between Josh and I. We probably have 10, 11, and 12 done. But those are going to be paused because in April, we are going to be releasing, for the 1-year anniversary of Everyday Keras and the Basic, we are going to release some copper basics. And so we'll pause. We'll release some copper basics. I don't know exactly which ones. Probably 1, 2, and 3, like we did with the brass. And then it will be after that we will do 10, 11, and 12. And by the time we're into 10, 11, and 12, we'll probably have a bunch more planned out. Like, we don't necessarily know how many we're going to do before we kind of pause. I would like to have, if we're able to have another pen on Everyday Keras released at some point this year. So there might be a pause somewhere in that while we focus on a second pen that's a different style, a different whatever that gets released on there. So I don't know how long we plan on doing them. We're going to do them as long as we can, honestly. Like, the whole idea with them is like they're not all the designs are gonna appeal to everybody, and the premise behind the pen is basically to offer a really affordable, fully machined pen. So I don't know, like if we did 50 of them, if we could find a way to do 50 different finishes and designs, that would be fine, or hundreds or thousands. I don't, it all kind of just depends on how many we can come up with and keep going. So, okay. Do you have a new, so JL Guitar, do you have a new click pen in the works with? Yes. So we're working on, that's the goal, is that we are working on a different one or two different click pen ideas that are going to be the replacements of the Retract and the EDK. So we are working on that. Josh is working on that now. He's working in SolidWorks on the modeling of it. So we'll see where that goes, how it goes, type of thing. Yeah, I don't know honestly, like how many versions the basic will do before we start realistically like pausing it and then taking some time to do something else and just kind of like keeping the most popular versions in stock. What are the chances of making a modal that specifically takes the Pentel Energel refills? Andreas, honestly, like, not highly likely. 5% chance. It would require us to make alterations to two different parts. We would have to make alterations to the inner machining of the lower body, and we would have to make alterations to the slider in the upper body. So it would require us to make two unique SKUs for that one refill. It would be a much higher it would be much higher likelihood if the Energel became more popular than the Pilot G2. Like if somehow Pilot went out of business or bought Pentel and decided to retire the G2 and use the Energel instead, that would make it a much higher likelihood. It's just, when it really comes down to it, there's just enough difference in those refills that we have to machine specifically for the unique properties. Like I think I have one right here, right? Because the Energel refill is like UMR 87, like something like this. I think this is an Energel refill. Yeah, and so we have to like machine to this specification. So that's just, we just have to. I've never used a fountain pen. What should I try to see if it is for me? So if you want to buy something from us, whenever we have something that's on a big sale, like marked down to like $50, that's probably the best way to go. I would suggest you purchase like an inexpensive, somewhere between the $20 and $35 range fountain pen from like a Lamy Safari or All Star or Pilot Metropolitan or Prera, which I think is also a Pilot. Platinum makes some inexpensive, maybe the Prayer is a Platinum. I think there's, or Twisby Eco. Any of those are going to be in that $25 to $35 range. They're going to be plastic for the most part, although you can get Metropolitans. Metropolitans are metal, but they're nowhere near as heavy as ours. Same with the Lamy All-Star. But that will give you an idea on the basics without putting a ton of money into it. Those are kind of your most pocket-friendly ways at going about finding out if you like fountain pens or not. Those are the ones that I would recommend if you don't have an opportunity to borrow one from somebody, is to buy one of those less expensive from a reputable brand. There are other companies that are making $20 and $30 fountain pens that are absolute trash that you're going to end up throwing away. Don't get one of those. Get one from one of the major companies. And Twisby is a major brand. I would consider them. Lamy, Pilot, Platinum. Those are like the big ones that offer cheap, full-sized fountain pens. Any chance of a titanium modal? Wait, let me scroll back up. You answered before but with the feeling is the Decograph rollerball conversion kit. Yeah, the Decograph rollerball conversion kit is the exact same one that you would use for a Vertex. Yes, Bob. Any chance of a titanium modal? As of right now, until the price of titanium comes down dramatically, it is not going to happen. Due to the upper body, like this requires way too much machining and it's just not in the works right now. Not until we see some pricing come down on that stuff. EDK basic Sharpie. I mean, I'm not going to ever say that we're not going to do a Sharpie style pen. The problem with doing a Sharpie style pen is that it requires you to put a Sharpie in it. Are you talking about like the Sharpie refill, or are you talking about like the Sharpie marker? Sorry. Did I miss when the club coin was coming out? No. So we're not doing a 2026 club. We're rolling the 2025 members into 2026. If you're not currently a member of the club, so if you are currently a member of the club, you're going to stay a part of the club for all of 2026. If you're not a member of the club, we have the old coins available that you can purchase, and you will be added to the 2025/2026 pen club. Okay, let's see here. Boy, I need to get caught up. Let's see. Brass hex models lying around. No, I don't have any of the honeycomb brass stuff in stock anymore. Maybe down the road. Ooh. James, if you want the tie key and you have but with the Karis Penco pen, like you don't want to make two orders, just email me the specifics and we can just take care of it. We'll just send you an invoice. What is my favorite Mexican food dish? Dude, that's hard, bro. That is so hard to answer. Oh my God. Oh, you're gonna have to give me a second to think that out. Dylan, let me know whether you mean like the Sharpie, like like a Sharpie marker, or just a Sharpie refill. So anyway, what is my favorite Mexican food dish? Ooh, ooh. I mean, like New Mexico style Mexican food is completely different than Arizona style Mexican food. So like if I'm in New Mexico, I'm gonna get green chili like 100 times out of 100. Like that's just like that's just the way to go. Like, and if I'm in Colorado, I'm gonna get green chili pork stew. Like that's just kind of what you do. Like those two places have their own style. Like you guys have your own style. Like we have some decent Mexican restaurants, New Mexico style restaurants here, especially in Mesa. There's a couple like pretty well known ones. But like Mexican style, like Arizona style, which is a lot like Sonoran style, Mexican. Like I like honestly like I'll just eat street tacos, like if it's like quick. Like I love street tacos. They're like easy, fast. They're relatively inexpensive out here. Like there's good, like you can throw a rock any direction from our shop and find, you know, and hit a place that does decent street tacos. So that's kind of one of the things. It just depends. Like Arizona's weird because like so Arizona, there's three different styles of distinct Mexican food in Arizona now. So there's the original, and when I say original, like if you've lived here for any length of time, like my family, my mom and dad's family moved here in like the 40s, which was kind of when Mexican restaurants, like a lot of the old time Mexican restaurants started. And in order to have Mexican restaurants be like to be popular in Arizona in the 40s and 50s and 60s, like you had to appeal to, at the time, white people's palates. Like that's just the way that it was. Like, so there's all these restaurants where they were started by like a husband and wife, where one of the two of them would be like white and the other one would be from like a lot of them were from like Mexico City or northern Mexico. And so they'd start these places like down in Tucson. There's one called El Charro. There's a place that was started up here, multiple different places in the valley. Macayo's is one of them. And then there's a whole bunch of different like local chains that were started in the 40s and 50s by these mixed race families that were making Mexican food that was kind of, I don't want to say dumbed down, but it's kind of the same idea with like American Chinese food, where it's like you have like these mix of food that's like not traditionally Chinese, and it brings in a lot of stuff that appeals more to people here. So like there's a lot of dishes that are in Arizona like that are not, it's kind of almost like Tex-Mex, like fajitas are a Tex-Mex thing, like at least modern fajitas that you'll find places in Arizona, like the chimichanga, which is different than chimichangas you'll find other places. Like it's a fried burrito that's deep fried and then usually smothered in some kind of either red sauce or green sauce, sometimes Baja sauce, depending on what the filling is. But chimichangas are really good. Like they're amazing. But like there's all these different styles of food in Arizona. So Mexican food. So that's like one distinct, like there's restaurants in Arizona that serve this one distinct, where the menu is very much like this older style of traditional Arizona style Mexican food. And then in the 2000s, there's been this, well, they've always existed. We've always had mom and pop, like traditional style Mexican restaurants that appealed towards the immigrant communities that we had here. So like all different styles from different places, Oaxaca, Michoacan, Sonora, like all the different styles, distinct styles of Mexican food whether it's, on the sea, Jalisco. Like there's a restaurant right down the street from here that does really traditional Jalisco style Mexican food, and it's a fantastic. And so there's a bunch of those, and a lot of those are small and much less like, kind of like less expensive. You get a lot of it's a lot of food. It's traditional style tacos, traditional style, soups and dishes that are plates with the tortillas and stuff on the side. And those are fantastic. And then now in the last like 5 years, legitimately, it's been in the last like 5 to 6 years, we have upscale Mexican food that is pulling traditional style Mexican food from Mexico and like putting it in a format that is like not white glove, but like sit down. You're going to spend a lot of money, but it's going to be like a lot of food. It's extremely, it's stuff that you would see at some of the fine dining Mexican restaurants in Mexico City and some of the larger cities in Mexico. So we have one right down in downtown Phoenix or downtown Mesa. There's one there, Espiritu, which has upscale. And then downtown Phoenix has Bacanora and quite a few different of these places. And a lot of those were started by owners of more traditional style Mexican restaurants that have decided there is now a scene in Arizona of like fine dining of different cultures. And so they're starting these other places that because people's palates have gone to these, and they want to show off food that's like, more traditional, that's in an upscale format. So I think you could find that anywhere, but I just like Mexican food. Like if I would be there's two types of food that I would be hard pressed to eliminate if somebody was like, you have to decide on one food. Mexican food and Indian food are two of the foods that I don't know that I could give up. Like I could give up pizza and burgers and even barbecue and Chinese food and Thai food. It would be hard to give that up too. But like those are Mexican food and Indian food are two of my favorite foods, largely for the same reason. Like it's such a diverse. You can have so many different flavors from both of those cuisines because they're such a diverse. Large countries with diverse ethnicities and foods on different coasts and stuff like that. So you get a lot of different things. All right. So it's a simple mini Sharpie holder with a screw cap. Huh. I'll have to look into that. Like we've been asked to do it before in the past, and we prototype some of that stuff for a couple different projects of making something that would accept a Sharpie. And it just, the people that asked us to do that ended up not wanting to pay us what we told them it would cost us to make, because it was going to be like a white label thing. They wanted us to make it for them. And it was not within our price range to do something like that. So I don't know if it's something that we'll do or not. It would be something, if we did something, it would be, the problem is that people don't want it to be really simple. They want it to look cool because they need it to sell. And once you start adding in that type of thing, it adds a lot of time to the machining process, which adds a lot of, or the finishing process, one or the other, and that adds a lot of cost. And you just can't cut those costs if we're the end person selling it, we can take less margin, like we've done with the basics, or streamline the process so that it's not going to be as perfect as our Karas Penco pens. There's going to be, some surface marks on them. So I know I'm hungry here. It's like nearly dinner time. So, copper vertexes, that one's still a work in progress, Chris. Like I'm not going to rule it out because we did the brass, but the issue with the copper vertex is just, we have to be able to control the product loss during machining. We have to build in the environment of that's almost like we do the resin pens, where we're manually like putting in the part, machining it, taking it out, like handling every single individual part instead of running it in a production run, so that we can cut down on the dings and the marks on those that would cause us to not be able to sell them. We can't do them in a large production run. So doing either of those things, either running them in a production run and just going and just having a loss because they're hitting each other, or dropping or getting scratched or whatever, would raise the price of the pen significantly. Or having an operator on every single one of those pieces raises the end price of the pen significantly. So we just have to figure that out. It's not, we have plans to do the copper vertex. It's just, how do we do it? What are we going to prioritize? And then how much is it going to be at the end of the day? So, all right, we're kind of coming towards the end. So if you have more questions, go ahead and toss them in there. I am going to run the, I am going to pull the winners from the giveaway. So let's pull that out. Maybe. Let's try this again. Any more questions? Am I missing questions? No questions? You're just going to stare at me? Okay. 3. This randomizer. All right. We got 5 winners. 5 winners. The following people are our 5 winners: Bob Arnson, Michael Lebrano, Dylan Park, JLR Guitar, and Charles Reynoso. So if you 5 individuals would email me your shipping information, I'll get you guys your prizes. I'll get your prizes out to you. Congratulations on winning. What Indian dish? Golly. You'll have to give me a second. There's a specific dish that I like, and I never remember the name of it. And I'm going to look it up. I don't know if I can find it. I don't know the specific name of it, but it's a fish curry, and it's also sometimes done with prawns, shrimp, but it's a traditional like fish curry. And there's like an upscale Indian restaurant that's around down the street from our house, and they rotate their menu frequently, so they feature different fish and they feature different versions of it, different curries. It is fantastic. I love fish. I mean, I love everything that they do there. They like to have like an amazing lamb curry, a mutton, like they have like a lot of traditional like meats, but they have like half their menu is also like vegetarian. So we usually like get a bunch of vegetarian options too. I'll just eat anything. Like if I see something new on the menu, usually when we go there, we're just like, hey, so what's good right now? Like we'll ask the waiter, the wait staff there, and we'll just get like one or two of the things that we like, and then we'll get like three or four different things that they recommend. So like it's hard for me to pick. I can't honestly can't think of an Indian dish that I've had that I didn't like. Some of the stuff's been too like spicy, like when we've been like really like, oh, we'll do something a little spicier. Some of it's been like a little too spicy for even for me. And I enjoy spicy food, but you know. So Tom, I advise using a converter, like the this style of converter, and ooh, and bottled ink with your fountain pen for a variety of reasons. One of which is going to be you'll be able to control your ink flow better with this, and so it will flow better from the jump. The seals on these are better than using converter than using the cartridges. You're just gonna you're just gonna be, I don't want to say happier, but like you'll be able to get your fountain pen running and running consistently with a converter than you will with a cartridge. Cartridges inevitably end up giving people headaches. Um, at least they do to me. I mean, maybe other people like don't have that happen to them, but I do. Inevitably, like there's still like there's still a bunch of ink in the cartridge, but in the cartridge, but it won't go down. And so it's just kind of a pain in the ass. I keep cartridges around for like when I'm on vacation and I don't have access or whatever, like when I'm traveling and I don't have access to, I didn't bring a bottle of ink. I'll keep some cartridges on hand. That way, if I run out of ink in the converter, I'll just put a cartridge in. But ideally, if you use a good quality converter like the K5, like the ones that we send with our pens, or the name brand converters that come with some of the bigger brands, you'll control your ink flow better. It will just function better from the jump. It can be messier. I tend to I will fill directly to the converter. So I'll put this plunger all the way down, and then I will put this into the bottle of ink and pull up the ink into here. Then I'll attach it to the nib and just do a little priming where you just push this out a little bit until you see the feed start to get wet. Then I'll write until it starts writing consistently on paper. Sometimes you have to back off, like turn it back up with it on the nib and back it off a little bit to suck some of that excess ink back. But once you have capillary action, and then you turn it back and start to write with it, it should flow correctly. So, all right. Once again, our winners: Bob Arnson, Michael Lebrano, Dylan Park, JLR Guitar 77, and Charles Reynoso. Email me your shipping information so I can get your pricing. You can email paul@karascustoms.com. That way I can send your stuff out next week. I don't think I will get to it today. Well, there's no pickup today. So even if I put it in the mail today, like you're not going to get it till next week. So, all right. If there's not any more questions, I'm going to wrap up the rest of my day. I got a couple more things left that I have to do before I get to leave for the day. Any last minute questions? If not, hopefully next month we have a bunch of news to go over because I'm much more further down the new Penco site. We've got some news on other stuff. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for being here. I know it was kind of, I didn't email a bunch about it. We only emailed once this week about it, but I'll try to be better about it. But I also didn't know if I was going to do it this month, but I wanted to get something in. So thank you so much for being here. Hopefully, if you have any more questions, you can always just email me. Like I said, James, if you want to email me about that pen you want to purchase and the tie key, just shoot me an email and we can figure that out. All right. Thanks, everybody. I'll see you next month for the February live stream. Talk to you soon. Stay safe. Be warm and safe if you are in the polar vortex.